Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. My name is Rich Thomas, former mayor of Mount Vernon. You're listening to What Happened Here, and we're here every Wednesday from 12 noon to 1 p.m. asking the question, what happened here with the particular situation or particular topic or question? We dive in and unpack it. And this week, we're focusing on adoption. It's an issue that is a national issue. It hits home hard, literally and figuratively speaking. And I felt that it was important that we take a step back and look at the issue and how it implies not just to us, but across the country. And there was a story that came to my attention about David Bruce, and very moved by it. And I hope that that as you look into his experience with going through the system to try and take care of his niece's children, and how he was able to um, summon the courage and the strength after losing his own biological daughter. He stepped up to provide love where these kids were just about to be lost to a system that has no room for compassion, as you can tell. But nonetheless, before we get to back to David sharing some of his story, if you'd like to call in, the phone number is 914-636-0110. Again, that's 914-636-0110. And on the line, I know we also have a caller, a guest caller, Joanne. You're on the line. Joanne, thank you for joining.
Hi.
Yes, absolutely.
Hey, hi, yeah. Be brief. My God, to tip my hat wouldn't be enough. I think I'm your, what's his name again,
David,
gentlemen?
David Bruce.
David, God bless him, I want to say, because I'll tell you what, it is so wonderful that he stepped up to that plate. I know a lot about foster care and adoptions. I have friends, I have relatives that all either took them in or had them or were in fact,
Hmm.
and many, and in some cases they turned into adoptions. There was a time way back, I'm talking 50, 60 years ago, when New York State wasn't allowing adoption. So those who took in foster care, yeah, there's a lot. I can go on. I could do a whole show on that, Rich. But anyway, I wanted to say that I am so proud of this young gentleman because it's just beautiful. It's beyond beautiful. I can't even tell you. It's just like I want to cry. Because not many people would do that. Does he have a partner in life? If I may ask, of whatsoever nature, doesn't matter. But I mean, a partner
Yeah,
that he
sure.
can work that can work with him.
David?
Help family. I have a lot of family. I come from a very large family. So it's not like I'm actually doing this I'm raising the kids by myself, but I have lots of outlets. Help.
You got a network around.
That's what that's wonderful. It's very helpful, and use it all if you can, where you know it's good. Because I'll tell you what, I know for the most part, I want to tell you, by and large, Rich, I know people that nightmare stories about foster children, nightmare, and of every ethnic background. I have an uncle that was left at a church. I mean, because kids are very, as you know, in this world, abused for a lot of different reasons.
Hmm.
And so when there's a good person like this, it warms my heart. I'll tell you. But no, and what I meant more specifically was, does he have a mate? And it sounds like no. I meant like another marital partner. And because that makes it like a little more but that's not then.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, it's just it's a balance. I mean, I get it. I mean, look, I can tell you right now, like I'm raising, two kids, and thank goodness I got my wife and my mother-in-law and
Right?
sister-in-law. I mean, it's a
Okay.
huge benefit to have literally a village come together to raise children,
Absolutely.
especially in the age of social media.
My God, absolutely. You bet. So, but to have the poster, because I know they advertise it on TV still a lot, and I know that I hear it all the time. There's still lots of kids out there, and I'm still tempted. Of course, I'm old. I'm not, well, I'm going to be 72 like Dennis Dion Nardone.
Hey.
Them, and not that we're old because we're not. And if we're sharp, we're still sharp.
Hmm.
And I consider myself still sharp. However, to go out and take small kids in now, they wouldn't want me. I'm the grandmother. I'd be
You never know. Love is love. Don't change that dial. Don't change that dial. Don't change that dial. You're listening to What Happened Here, and we're talking about what happened with adoption. Don't change that dial. Come right back. You on 1460 WVOX on your AM dial. Perfect. He asked if he can come at 3. Is that all right? Yeah. All right. So make sure. Yeah, he's a great guy. Has
I'm Ed Donahue with an
you know,
AP News Minute. Civil rights
much
attorney Ben
interest in
Crumpet
this,
and law
and
firm
I
at
was
Oxford
happy to
Attorneys
hear
have
that,
received reports of
where
hazing
he's coming
within
from.
Northwestern
I'll come
University's
back to it.
baseball
Yeah,
softball
great.
program. Petitions are
All right,
growing complaints
you
of
got it.
hazing within the school's football program.
This shocking, horrible, appalling, but it is not surprising.
A former Wildcats football player filed the first lawsuit against Pat Fitzgerald and members of the school's leadership, seeking damages stemming from a hazing scandal that cost the former football coach's job. Warren Miles Long played football for Northwestern. He says players were put in a culture where sexual violence and hazing was rampant.
Unfortunately for us, we were becoming freshmen, so we had no reference point to know if this was just a college football thing or just a uniquely Northwestern thing.
No other lawsuits have been filed. I'm Ed Donahue.
MVP's bonus days are back at Lowe's. Find special savings on top brands like DeWalt. Right now, save $60 when you buy a DeWalt impact driver or drill for just $99 each. Plus, MVP's Pro Rewards members will earn 3 times the bonus points with shopping the Pro Zone. Shop in-store and online today. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. DeWalt offer valid 7/17 through 8/2. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Valid through 7/28. Subject to change.
We're going abroad for the first time here to Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. L.com.
And now with your latest up-to-date forecast, here's Steve Pelletieri's High on Web on 1460 WVOX.
Forecast Westchester County and the area for this Tuesday afternoon is easy sunshine. Temperatures climbing into the upper 80s, 40% chance of thunderstorms as well through the later afternoon. Partly cloudy skies, some widespread rains. Overnight lows fall back to the lower 70s. Clouds and sunshine on Wednesday, chance of showers, maybe gusty thunderstorm into the afternoon. Clouds climbing into the upper 80s. Similar weather on Thursday, mostly sunny, then thunderstorms possible, 30% chance into the afternoon. Highs to the 80s, partly sunny.
Gerald.
See Philadelphia Junior, 1460 WVOX, looking local radio station.
I was going to send you an email. There's a song, maybe on like the last closeout. I want you to play. Is that all right?
Oh, yes, yeah.
All right. Thanks. The Madison email.
Joelle's still high. So
Yeah.
With Rich Thomas, mayor of Mount Vernon, on 1460 WVOX.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. My name is Rich Thomas, former mayor of Mount Vernon. You're listening to What Happened Here on 1460 on your AM dial, worldwide at WVOX.com. Now, before we went to break, we had a caller on the line who was helping us unpack and revisit some dynamic issues in adoption. The caller, the guest caller, that's featured for the show today is David Bruce out of Oklahoma, sharing his story and his journey of how he was stepping up to, become a father again to 2 young children who are about to be lost to the system. And we're so thankful for him sharing his story and explaining, how difficult it was to get to this, done. I mean, having to go through multiple different layers of bureaucracy and government, be it from on the Indian Nation side to the side of just the state. And we had a guest caller, a listener call in, Joanne, who's still online, and she was sharing some of her experiences. And before we finish with Joanne, I know Joanne was asking some questions to David. Love to just make sure that we come back and round the base so that we're unpacking the issue on what happened here. So before we went to break, Joanne was pointing out how even she in her experience has had an uncle that was left at a church, and she has a scenario where she's watched so many different children come through. And so Joanne, thanks. Do you have any final questions or final thoughts for David before we move into the next the next topics? So I think Joanne she may be finished. So thank you, Joanne, for calling in, and David, thanks for hanging in there. So David, definitely want to go back to the Indian tribunal. If you can tell us a little bit about how that played out. How did the children wind up back on the Indian reservation and on sovereign land? And what was the you know the premise of sorts for them to go there was, I guess, is you mentioned that the father had to sign over his rights. Was the father on the reservation, or was the father on the state side? I mean, I can't tell between the two. Can you unpack and just kind of show us where people where people were? Thank you.
Okay, let's back up.
Yep.
The kids were never on Indian territory because the kids are, their mom was half Indian. Their mom was half Indian and white.
Okay.
She has an Indian road napper. She was a Muskogee Creek Indian. And so in order to adopt the kids, the Muskogee Creek had to okay the adoption. They were never on Indian land. They were on the city, on state land.
Okay.
They
All
were
right.
not Indian reservation.
But the Muskogees had to get involved. Okay. All right. Thanks for clearing that up. Yep. Now, David, just one moment. You broke up for a second there. You broke up for a second there. So I just want to make sure that everybody that's listening, you're listening to David Bruce, hailing from Oklahoma, sharing his story about how he adopted two of his, cousins, someone that was going through his own life trauma, where he was lost his daughter and stepped back up to the plate.
Joanne is back.
Step back up to the plate to help raise a 5-year-old and a 6-year-old. You said, right? And
No,
now they're 8 and 10, but at the time when we started this, they were 5 and 6, and this has now been a couple years. And David's sharing his story, and I felt this was an important story to explore because it doesn't get enough attention about how there are people out there that provide love and support and shelter to young kids that don't have it, and there's a direct link between young children that wound up not having a home, not having that infrastructure of love built around them, that go on to life and do bad things. And there's a direct link there between young kids being broken and going out into the society and doing bad things, going to prison. So I just want to mention that and thank David for being that person to step into the gap. And I think Joanne called back. Joanne, thanks for calling back. Tell us what's on your mind. Or maybe not. Oh, Joanne, you're still there. Hey, Joanne. What's on? Welcome back.
What he's doing is just beyond. But the fact, it's a little special too because they're related. And you already asked the age. That was my question.
Yep.
One of my last questions. But I do know a lot of people from foster care back in the day that were abused. I mean, there is a whole book. If I do a book, and that was actually my next book that I'm going to write, is about foster care and adoption. And and there's a lot, and there's a lot. Do a lot of exposing, but of course I would never want to hurt anyone in my life. But there are a lot of stories from a lot of and kids from, like I said, every ethnic background that you can imagine, and abuse, a lot of abuse with that too.
Yeah.
So it's a very tough a lot of abuse. So when you can provide love, a lot of people don't even do it out of love because it was done for money clearly years ago. Oh
Mhm.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, I can add to that book. I'd love to connect you with my mother-in-law, who she adopted 11 children, and
bless.
she ran a foster home and came across many of the situations that you described. And it's horrible how young people, how kids are treated and not protected. And that's where I give a shout out not only to my mother-in-law, but to the CPS workers that are out there trying to do the right thing, but they're overwhelmed. And to the CPS worker that is overlooking abuse, you need to be held accountable. But that's where again, it comes back to, it takes a village, and I hope that everybody out there listening takes a moment to ask, those additional questions. Are these kids well? Do they have what they need? And right now, school is not in. Some kids rely on school lunches and not having that frequency and regularity and that access to, 2 to 3 meals a day at the school really creates a problem during summertime. So I can only tell you that I get it. And that's why when David's story came forward, I said, you know what, let's talk about it, because this is an issue that is always overlooked and does not get enough attention. And
Do it to be continued, I'll tell you, there are lots of different, aspects of it also. Besides it being David impressed me totally. That's totally my reason for jumping in. But I know lots of stories, and I know a lot of negativity, but not only with foster care, but today things are bad all over, and there are children out there, and I just urge and encourage parents to take the time to pull it out of them. You have to. People used to say with me, with my kids, when they would come home from school, oh, you question them, you give this, you give them, but yes, guess what? I'm the mother, I'm the parent, one of the
hmm
second parent, and this is what I'm here for. Yeah, they sit down, have their snack, and then do their homework, and then play. But you know what? While they would sit down, I'd sit down with them, and I would pull a lot of things out of my kids. I don't care. That's our job. And it's a need to know basis, because you know what? A lot of the kids, listening to a couple of psychiatrists recently on one of the shows, they were saying that they don't admit, even with bullying. Same thing. There's a lot of it, and you got to pull all this out of the kids. You have to at least try. We can only try.
speaking of bullying, there was a story locally, and David, we're gonna pull you in, and feel free to tap in anywhere. I just want to point out there's a story about Mamaroneck being flagged for not addressing bullying. I found that interesting because as much as I appreciate the AG looking at that issue in Mamaroneck, I would hope that the story that came out recently about $8 to $10 million missing from the Mount Vernon City School District would also rise to their attention. But that's another story we'll talk about. But the bullying part being not addressed is something that is just these are one of the root causes. And when you have a situation where a young person's parent is deceased, or a parent abuses, or someone abuses them, and it goes unchecked, they bring that trauma to school and they take it out on the next kid. And that's
Exactly.
very much the cycle of bullying. It's some kind of traumatic thing, and the child that's been traumatized does not know how to deal with it, and they act out. So
Exactly.
I can only tell you that I get it, and I feel that this is why we have to have such a stronger appreciation for and attention on these issues.
Yep.
David, do you have anything to add to that? Or I mean, you're in it. You're unpacking it. You're helping. You're
Yeah.
the solution here.
God bless them.
How do we get more Davids out there?
You pray.
I love that
Yeah.
answer. Great.
You're right, but today they don't even want you to pray though, really, So but pray is part of it, and you know what, David, I want to end because I know there are other callers probably, and I want you to talk anyway, and I would like to say that you know what, you keep up the good work. God bless you, kiddo. You are fantastic, and at such a young age, that impresses me also. You know what I mean?
Thank
You're
you, thank
young.
you,
You're a
thank
young fellow, and God bless you. And it's a long road ahead too, but you sound tough. You'll do it.
you.
I think pick the take. If someone wants to babysit a little and you trust them, you do it. Or this one or that one or cousins. Use everybody if you could. You know what I mean? But all right. Thank you guys. I'm
Thank you,
gonna
Joanne.
sign off.
No
Take
problem.
care.
Thank you, thank you, thank
Thank
you.
you.
So David, I mean, look, prayer is definitely the way. We know that for sure. But I'm pretty sure you're praying a lot more when the kids, want to go on YouTube, or they want to do something that they're not supposed to do. Tell us a little bit about those ones. Let's fast forward for a moment to David today. You know, looking back on that labyrinth you went through to adopt these two young special cousins of yours. If you can just say, you know, now you got them, they're yours. Tell us about that moment where you have to pray when they're coming home from school or something else popping off.
Well, the fact of it is, I pray before they go to school, during their school, and out of school. It's
Hmm.
making sure they have everything they need, making sure that they're happy, making sure that there's nothing wrong. And with the girl, she's 10. She has more effects of everything that happened to her.
Okay.
She needs more. She constantly needs attention. She constantly needs loving. And she needs someone to basically be there 24/7. And it's tiresome. But at the same time, I signed up for it. So
Tell me, did COVID play any role in making, you know, the 10-year-olds, uh, you know, trauma? Did the isolation of COVID create any more additional, you know, concerns?
no, I think it may have grown to her a little bit because she was basically at home. So
Hmm.
she basically had that familiarity, so she wasn't stuck with other kids, and so all the attention was not so much on everybody else, was on her, her brother.
Okay. Okay. So that had a good effect in terms of being able to provide that extra attention. That's tremendous.
And so it may have hurt them more educational wise, but for as bonding wise, it helped them more because it's more with family.
Now, tell me about he's now 8-year-old. So what is the 8-year-old into?
He's into anything to do with Spider Man. Into you name it, he's into it. He's into cars. Like right now, big thing is cars. He's like Lamborghini, and
Who doesn't? Who does not like Lamborghinis? Tell me, show me that person.
great. And
Well, I tell you, we're going to get back into these tastes and experiences when we come back from break. Don't change that dial. Listening to David Bruce detail his journey as a father again, all the way from Oklahoma, putting a spotlight on an issue that we all have to pay attention to, and that's making sure we have a loving home for everybody, especially those young people that need to be adopted. Don't change that dial. Hey, Gerald, what's your email? Hey,
Mom, I'm hungry. Can I have a snack?
email. What's your email? JIMMY. Okay, I got it. I got it. I got it.
Hold on, what is it? Don't space. Mom. If you're a distracted driver, chances are they will be too. What kind of driver are you raising? Funded by the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee.
The nicest two people on the radio. Sassy, Tommy, Vicious. And Good Morning Westchester. Weekday mornings from 6 to 9. Right here on 1460 WVOX. 1460.
And now back to What Happened Here with Rich Thomas, the former mayor of Mount Vernon, on 1460 WVOX.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. You're listening to What Happened Here, and we're here every Wednesday from 12 noon to 1 p.m. asking the question, what happened here? And today's question is, what happened here with adoption? This is an issue that is, you know, all too overlooked. People tend to forget that there's a whole class of people that are just unwanted, unloved, forgotten. And it's not just here in New York, it's across the country. And in Oklahoma, a story, came to my attention, talking with a friend in the news that said, you got to hear about this story about a man named David Bruce who basically said, I'm going to become a father again, and I'm going to, provide as much love and care and attention and support to two young people who are having just a rough go at life. And it's not their fault, it's just the circumstance that they were facing. Um, their mother passed away, his aunt, who was in position to care for them, but could not, given her health issues. And David stepped up and said, I got this, and went through an incredible struggle to get through the bureaucratic red tape, not just on the state side, but also on the, but also on the, but also on the Indian Nation side, where they had to sign off on the adoption. And it's just an incredible amount of time, energy, and effort to get these two young people to a place where they could be protected and loved. So I just want to, welcome back David. We were talking about what the 10-year-old, I mean, we were talking about what the kids like today. We kind of, we went through the journey of how he got here, what happened. And now we're at a place of what's happening. And he was talking about Spider-Man and Lamborghinis. Tell me about this. Tell me about this exquisite taste of these 8-year-olds. My goodness.
Here comes good thing is called the internet, and he will look up anything and everything.
I love it.
We were in Tennessee and Florida, and he saw a Lamborghini, and the guy let him fit it, and he's been in love ever since.
And he just knew that this is my style. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to get. And that's it.
Yeah, but he wants a Lamborghini and a woman to go with that Lamborghini. Well, out of his mouth.
Well, I tell you right now, we're going to help him along the way. We're going to make sure that as he evolves and grows, we're gonna make sure he gets on the path to get that Lambo.
Well, I hope so too. I keep telling him education is the most important thing for him right now, and the rest of it will come later.
That's right. That's right. Education's the only way.
He's right now. There seems to be grounded. There's like I said, there's hiccups. It's not perfect, and I don't think it ever will be perfect. But they seem to be grounded. They seem to be, to me, they seem to be growing a little bit more, and they feel a little bit more comfortable.
Mm. Well, let me tell you something. I received a song from Mackie Conscious, and it is a song of hope, and it's a song that we all need. It's called Brighter Day. And I've shared it with our team here in studio to see if we just play 60 seconds of it, a little less. I want you to hear this song, guys. It's something that
Okay.
that I believe speaks to this moment, that moment when David said, I'm going to do what is necessary to defend the family front, bring the family together after experiencing a traumatic loss of his own, losing more people in his family to keep his family together by adopting these two young, children who are now, on their road to becoming, not just successful, but great people because of David. So let's hear this song Brighter Day, because this is exactly what David delivered. And as this gets loaded, I want you all to know this is a song from Mackie Conscious that everybody is playing. It's a song of hope. It's a song of healing. It's a song that we all need in this day today and what's going on. We need brighter days. And there were some dark clouds over, covering unwanted children, not just in New York, but all the way to Oklahoma. And I can tell you that we're ready. We're ready to hear a brighter day. Yep. So as it continue as it gets loaded, I can tell you that there are some times in life having gone through some of my own, I can tell you that you need to know that you always got to hold on to hope. And David is a demonstration of that, where you have a hopeless situation totally turn on its head because someone decided that they're gonna be there for the right reasons and fight through this brighter day.
But on that, that arises and expresses souls. So we are yet to achieve or to connection. Why God's understanding? What is the depth of our sadness? Oh, no, child, it's just right today.
And that's a song from Mackie Conscious. And that's where I wanted you guys to hear that hook. Brighter Day is definitely something that you got to look for. Definitely Google it, find it. It's something that was shared with me, and the creator asked that we play it because they were moved by David's story, and that's what they believe David delivered for these young people. Today for you, tomorrow for me, brighter day is going to come. And I just want to thank David for sharing his story, opening up his journey to all of us and letting us know that these two young people are not only in good hands, they're in great hands, just like Allstate, right? And he's basically gonna be, that Allstate dad, making sure that everything is gonna happen that needs to happen to protect them so they can have, a successful and productive life. David, any final thoughts before we close out the show?
Well, to adopt it, that should do it from a loving place. Should do it from a place where they're there to help, not just, it's not, kids to me are not ornaments that, or toys or something you can play with for a while and put away. Uh, Kids nowadays are different than when I was growing up. They need more attention, they need more loving, they need more structure.
Mm. And they definitely need a lot of structure because of Google, they think they know everything, but they don't know anything.
Yes, and so, but I just think that, whoever gets kids, they're great, but the system is rough. You have to fight it, and you should always fight it with an attorney, not by yourself.
Tell me about it.
To do something like this, attorneys should do your talking. You should never have to do anything.
Well, I appreciate you, making that profound point because a lot of people don't realize that the way the courts work are very different than, how you would discuss something and resolve it with another person.
Right.
But the courts are very, 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 rigid and very hard to understand at times. But I can tell you right now, um, can't thank you enough for being a hero and sharing your time today. And I felt it was important that we, you know, put a spotlight on an unsung hero. And I'm very happy to have the ability to celebrate you and what you've done to rescue two young people who needed it. Thank you, David, all the way from Oklahoma to New York. We'll talk again, I'm sure. Everybody, thank you for joining us next week. Next week, we're going to talk about, you're welcome. Next week, we're going to talk about hip hop. We're going to talk about hip hop next week. I got a big celebrity guest coming on next week. Y'all stay tuned for it. Talk to you soon, guys. Have a great weekend.